in very deep way, crisis of the body. We're dissociated from our body, we're dissociated from nature, we're killing nature through our suicidal corporate madness, we're addicted to dominating nature, and so we have a totally unhealthy relationship with the body on every level. So one of the things that I find essential for people is to cultivate a sacred physical discipline. I've written a book on yoga, which is going to come out next year with a wonderful...
Would that be 31?
33.
Oh, 33.
And it's about the marriage of yoga and mysticism. And I'm also writing a book with the great sacred dance pioneer, Gabrielle Roth, marrying her vision of the 5 rhythms to Rumi's mystical poetry, because I believe that physical sacred discipline is essential to our survival.
Gabrielle Roth, is she the woman who developed dance therapy?
No, she developed, well, she's partly done some dance therapy, but she did this amazing book called Sweat Your Prayers, which created a kind of sacred revolution in dance, in which she identified 5 sacred rhythms which create the universe and invite people to go through those sacred rhythms so as to become one with the divine in the body. She's a magnificent teacher. She's a wild woman and a great, great teacher, and she's my beloved friend, and we've been doing this work for several years now, trying to get it into real shape to give to the world.
Now, right at the start of your book, I think you open up with there's something you can do right now.
Yes. Well, there are many things you can do.
There's exercise, I believe. You want to say a few words if you know, maybe someone is watching and they say, "Oh, well, what could I do?" And then...
Well, I suggest 10 different things, but I'd like to just suggest 3 that really would be powerful for anybody to do right now. The exercise that I do every morning to connect myself to what is sacred with me is to write down 10 things that are sacred to you, just off the top of your heart. Flowers, dogs, cats, Maria Callas's voice, friends. And then when you write them down, you realize that these things are precious to you and they really matter, and you're prepared to do almost anything to try and protect them. That's a very important thing to know. The second practice I really recommend to anybody to try and get in touch with this sacred consciousness is to consciously try and set about forgiving somebody for having done something terrible to you. This is the hardest thing in the world to do. But if you can inch closer to it, you can discover great reserves of truth inside you.
Say a few words about His Holiness having to forgive, you know, being thrown out of his country, disconnected from his people, losing his family and friends.
Well, I think it's much deeper than that even, isn't it? That His Holiness has to forgive those who have slaughtered his entire people, large part of his people.
Thank you.
But you know what His Holiness understands, which is what I think the enlightened come to understand, is that the people who do such terrible things are also in themselves in need of compassion, because there is such a thing as the law of karma. And if you are someone who does such terrible things to other people, you are already the worst that anybody could wish you. And His Holiness is somebody who's come to help save through compassion absolutely every sentient being. That is the vow that he made. And the Chinese are very dear to his heart. He has a great love for the Chinese, partly because he knows that what they're doing, if they continue to do it, will bring upon them great tragedy. And he wishes to avoid that for them.
That's pretty amazing.
It's wisdom.
Yeah.
And it's wisdom that actually very ordinary people, so-called, can know. One of the stories I tell in my book is the story of a old black woman who is brought to by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission to face the man who murdered both her husband and her son. And the judge says, "You can say anything that you want to this man." And first she says, "Please take me to the place where you murdered them, because I want some dust from that place, because it's all that I have." And then she says, "I am an old woman and I still have a lot of love in me to give, and I want you to be my son. And I want you to come and visit me every month so that I can show you the joy and the peace of reality, of the truth." And he fainted away, the torturer, in the courtroom. And as he fainted, everybody started to sing Amazing Grace.
Mm-hmm.
So
is this a true story?
It's a true story. It's the core of my book, because I believe we all have this power, if we dig for it and if we have faith, to forgive terrible things and to go on.
What court did this happen in?
The Truth and Reconciliation Commission Court in South Africa in 1993. Mm-hmm. But there are many stories.
Have you met that woman yet?
No, I've not met her.
But
I would love to meet her.
It's on your list.
Oh my God, I would kneel at her feet. She has been the greatest teacher, yes.
And have you ever had problem forgiving someone, or?
I think everybody finds it excruciatingly difficult. I've had terrible things done to me, and I'm sure I've done terrible things in my life. And I did have immense problem, but the grace of knowing people like the Dalai Lama is that and being initiated into certain forms of really beautiful and sublime wisdom, is that you work with that terrible difficulty, and slowly through grace you come to understand that the person who did it to you really needs your compassion. And that is an immensely healing experience.
Well, when I look at the word forgiving, it comes from two words, forgiving. It's not about taking, it's giving to the other person.
Right. And also to yourself, because if you stay trapped in anger, it is you who suffers most in the end. And releasing yourself from that terrible, gnawing, brutal anger so that you can be free to love again is a very, very deep act of self-release.
Well, it's so true. The Chinese have a saying, if you're angry, dig 2 graves, not 1.
Yes, yes.
Andrew, we got about a minute or so left. Why don't you use the time to say whatever you want about the book? It sounds fascinating to me.
Well, I want this book to reach the heart of the whole world, because I believe that we are facing an extreme crisis which we need to rise up from the best of ourselves to overcome. And the best of ourselves is, as I've said, this passion to be one with God and the passion for justice. Bring them together, you have an immense holy force, and that is sacred activism.
Now, what happens, if the left has one idea of what justice and the right has another idea of what justice is? Where's the reconciliation?
Well, then we can really deeply talk. If you have two beings who are united in compassion and in meditation and in mutual respect, then there can be an authentic dialogue, and maybe out of that dialogue an idea greater and deeper rather than left or right can emerge.
And I would agree with you that there would be respect and possibly love there.
Yes. I love Republicans. I'm not one, but I have many Republicans I love deeply. And I actually will go on record as saying I learn a great deal from some of them.
And some of them are very intelligent.
And very compassionate.
Yes. All right. Are we out of time? Okay, we're going to wrap it up. For more information about Andrew Harvey, his book, The Hope, The Sacred Guide to Activism, stay tuned to the credits at the end. Until next time, we wish you good health, good fortune, and good spirits. Thank you,
Thank
Andrew.
you very much. Okay. Lovely conversation.
Oh, hold on.
Oh.
Hold on.
For more information about this show, our guests, Infinity Foundation, or any of our other programs, please visit our website, infinityfoundation.org, or call us at 847-831-8828.